So we are back with another episode. I am your host, Fatty.
And I'm Cakes, and welcome to the Fatty Cakes podcast. So,
The
go ahead.
what? Okay, so yeah, we are back again with Daddy Issues for episode 5. I hope y'all ready for this. If you ain't ready to deal with you right now, this is definitely not for you because this is going to be real. This is going to be raw. And this, yeah, is real. This is like real life stuff. And I hope you learn from it to help you grow. So just a growth challenge check-in. How are you guys doing with your growth challenge?
Um, this week I think I've been doing pretty good because it's self-love week for me, and I just cannot wait to the weekend because I got a whole weekend planned. So I'm good. I think I'm doing good this week versus the meditation week. That wasn't for me.
Well, for myself, just from the podcast alone, I have grown tremendously. Like tremendously. So if you've been following me, if you are close to me, like you can see the growth. Like it's there. It speaks for itself.
True.
Period.
True.
So I would definitely like if I was you guys, I would definitely like be following along like with us because you really get some gems out of every week's episode. Most definitely. But
So, quick recants. What has been your favorite episode so far between 1 and 4? Besides this one that we are doing now. What's your favorite?
my favorite one would probably have to be the vibes.
Vibes.
Because although that one was just me and you, that one was dope to me. Like we hit some real like good stuff. So the vibes was my favorite.
Okay, because the vibes be off. But yeah, I think my favorite. Yes, listen to that episode, please. But I think my favorite is It Me? Because Keon and Pam said it all, baby. They said it all.
I mean, hey, what can I say? Like that's what it was supposed to be. I mean, and I really, really hope that that resonated with people, and I hope that you actually listened to the content and actually seek to learn from it.
True. True.
So,
Okay, let's introduce our guests.
and so then we can ask them about their favorite episode thus far. So who I have with me is my girl, my friend, my sister, Selicia. Y'all, she from Dillon. Y'all know her. Like, cause she swears she from Dillon. So yeah, this is my friend, honestly. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself to you guys.
So I'm Lee. Yeah, I'm from Dillon. No, I'm really from Charlotte. I met Fatty a few years ago, and we just hit it off. And since then, I've seen a lot of growth with Fatty. And this podcast, honestly, it's taking it to a whole nother level. And it really has exposed a lot about myself, how I view friendships, relationships. For me, my favorite episode was definitely the vibes. I ran it back this morning at work because it was just that good. And yeah, the vibes, it's real.
Welcome to the show.
The vibes.
All right. So next person, our next guest is my big sister Brittainy, my twin for real.
Yes, true friends.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, as she said, I'm Brittainy. I love Shauna. Oh my God. Truly, just energy there all the time, even though she's my sister. But not much to know about me. I live Columbia, South Carolina. Single, no kids. Pretty much, my life is just devoted to working all the time. That's about it. Now I have to be honest, I'm a little bit behind on the podcast, but
It's okay.
I plan to catch up. So,
Yes, grow with us, sis. Okay. Oh, Brittany is an AKA.
oh yeah, yep, I crossed in 2011.
Woo!
Oh.
Where you cross from?
At USC Aiken.
Oh, well, shout out to you.
And USC. Yeah. All right. Next guest is DJ. So we wanted to add a guy to so it's not biased in all women. So we wanted a guy's perspective. And when Fetty was like, "Oh, we need to do it," so I was like, "Oh, I got somebody." So DJ, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm DJ. Shoot, I know cakes. I don't know cakes, but I know cakes because we was about to work together, but she said, "Nah, I don't like DJ, so I'm not gonna go work." And that's how that happened.
Dang.
It's like nah, none of that happened. But no, yeah, I'm DJ. I'm 26. I'm single, but not looking because relationships are ridiculous. But yeah, I'm a very.
Wait a minute.
What?
Flag on the play. He's single, y'all. He's single.
But don't bother. Because relationships are ridiculous. And with the movie, I can do bad all by myself. I don't need all that.
Yes, I'm with that. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. But,
Yeah,
DJ, very outspoken person. I don't care how people feel about what I say. I'm going to keep saying it as long as it makes me happy. And yeah, that's me.
Yes. And y'all, like, this platform is all about
You.
being authentic. So I love it. So yeah, be yourself. Don't hold back because it's about to get real. So,
Okay.
y'all ready?
Are you ready?
All right.
Whew.
Go ahead, Max.
My heart is beating fast, but let's just dig into it. First things
Somebody's
first.
excited.
Yes, this is about daddy issues. I don't know about y'all, but I've had my share of daddy issues, but I've grown from that. So now I can talk about it to shed some light on the issue. So first question, why is it common in the Black community to tell children, you don't need no daddy? Why?
Go, Selicia. Tell us why.
So, like I stated before, I definitely can speak for myself on this topic because I went through that. And I had a mother who was like, you don't need no daddy. She went as far as saying things like, your daddy is dead. And I think it just comes from a bitter woman perspective. Like, she would get mad at him. And when she was mad at him, it was, snatch away the kids. Because my sister and I, we are 2 of 6 that he already has. And it was like he stayed in another city, still local. She used to let us go visit. But if he didn't do something her way, oh, y'all couldn't go see your daddy. So I think that's the bitter woman role as to why. It's not really the man. I won't say it's the man's fault, but I think that's the bitter woman talking when that phrase comes out.
True.
That's for myself. I can actually relate and resonate with that because my mom said that too. Like, you don't need no daddy. I'm your daddy. Like, and when she used to say it, it really didn't bother me in that moment because I was a kid. I don't really know what you're saying. I mean, I hear you, but I don't hear you. And I just think like growing up, that really affects a person, a kid. So I didn't really like listen to that until I got into like middle school. And I'm like, okay, people around me got daddies. People around me got 2-parent homes. Like, okay, what's going on? You do need a daddy. So luckily, shout out to my goddad, like for stepping in since I've been they said they had me. So I can't even tell you when they got me. They said they had me when I was weeks old. So yeah. So shout out to them. And he has been a part of my life for 26 years and raised me like his own. Like I'm always included. Like this is my daughter. I have 5 daughters. So shout out to Ryan. You are definitely a real one. But yeah. So with what Selicia said, I think that saying or phrase per se that comes from a hurt woman or just a woman who didn't have an active father, because my mom didn't have an active father. So growing up and now me being an adult, I'm like, okay, well, maybe she thought that you didn't need a daddy because she didn't have one. So I can't really blame her for that because you don't know what you don't know. And she was just raised by her mom, and my nana is the GOAT, like super independent. So I think that that's where that starts from. It starts from home. So it for me, it was more so a bitter woman and just a learned behavior. But stop telling y'all kids that, for real.
Well, I never really experienced that in my home because I don't know, my mama just not even that type of person anyway. So it was always like, do you want to go see your dad type of thing. Like she was trying to get us up out the house. But I do think it, like you and Selicia both said, it can come from women being bitter or hurt and just feeling like they can do everything on their own because Black women already are kind of forced to be strong in a way. It's like, well, if you can't cry about something or you look at as weak, you can't complain about something or you looking like you're not grateful. It's just like always put on the Black woman to be strong anyway. And I'm not saying that that gives her a right to say something like that, but I feel like that can contribute to her feeling that way. To her saying like, you don't need no daddy because you got me, basically.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that she learned that independence from, again, my grandma, because my grandma always been the go-getter. Like anything you need, anything the family needs, it's my grandma. So I think, like, again, that's a learned behavior. So I forgive her for that because you don't know what you don't know.
What you think, Britt?
Yeah, I actually had that said to me personally. You know, I mostly hear just here and there, social media, you know, whatever, that Black fathers are actually necessary. So I hate that the two of you experienced that. Your mother's telling you that you didn't need a father, as they are very substantial figures.
Yes. Yes, they are. What do you think, DJ?
Oh, all right. So for me, I was never told that, and I was raised by my grandmother and her partner. So two women right there, two independent women, whatever. I was raised by them, and I think my dad was the deadbeat he wanted to be because his father was, you know, whatever the situation was. So my grandmother and her partner, they never told me I didn't need my dad or whatever. They opened my dad to me or whatever, but he went his own route. He did what he wanted to do. So I feel like for him, I didn't have him in my life due to his own reasonings or whatever. And yeah, it was never my parents that told me I didn't need a dad. I honestly, because of his actions, I grew up thinking I didn't need a dad until I got older, and you definitely need a dad.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Same.
Most definitely. And the one thing that resonated with me with what you said was how your grandparents opened you up to your father. So and that's another thing that happens with women. Like just like Lee said, you get upset and you use your child as a pawn. No, like stop taking that away from your child. Like just because you're not okay with this person, it's about setting your feelings aside. Like y'all decided to have a kid, so this is a lifetime commitment, so it has to be what's in best interest for the kid, and that's both parents. So stop getting mad at the mama or the daddy, vice versa, and saying no, you can't see little JJ. That's not right.
And to go off on that, that's also a learned behavior when you become an adult and a parent yourself, because I am a mom, and I know that early on I was behaving like that. I was doing that with my child's father. And I honestly, I had to check myself because I saw how it was affecting my son to not have that manly figure in his life. So it took a lot for me to get to that point. Thankfully, I caught on to it early, but I'm not going to say I use him as a pawn, but no, I used him as a pawn. I was like, no, if his dad made me mad, nah, okay, I will put him on block for months at a time. Like, little ignorant stuff. And then one day I was like, I don't want this for my son. And of course I've been going to therapy, and my therapist, she had to help me with that. She told me, do you want your son to grow up without a father and, not really hating men, but having the negative perspective of a man, and he is a boy. Look at the perspective that you have of men. And that really, really helped me. And she told me at the end of the day, it's a generational curse. Like you stated, my mom, she didn't have her father. He was pretty much like my dad. He was in and out. And we both cling to our fathers. You can never tell me I wasn't a daddy's girl, even though I never really saw my father like that. And I, even to this day, I really don't know my father like who he is. Like, I don't know a lot about him, but I mean, I know him. I have a relationship with him, but it's still, I can't tell you my dad's favorite color. I can't tell you his favorite song, what he likes to do. I don't know that stuff. And I feel like that's stuff that you should know about your dad. And you take that away from your child. So it's very important that you realize the type of father that you have in your life so that you can be a better parent.
Wow.
Like, I don't have, like, that's all I can say is because kids do be loving their parents. Like, that's something
unconditionally.
I don't care how bad or how wrong. Prime example, me and my mom. Like, I don't care how mad she makes me or how much we don't get along, but at the end of the day, like, I love you, like, genuinely. So a child love their parents. So stop taking that away from their child. Like, that's a different kind of love, honestly. And girls love their daddies.
I feel like for me, with my grandparents doing such a good job, so for the longest I hated my parents because so a little background, whatever. So my dad was what he was doing. So yeah, I consider myself living a stereotypical black kid life. Mother was a crack kid, father was a drug dealer. So I hated them. Like, but my grandparents did such a good job. That's where I was speaking on. Like, I felt like I didn't need my parents because it's like, what are they going to do? Like, even if I was adopted by whoever, I'm like, yo, these two people did such a great job. It's like my parents just had me, so it's like, fuck them. So or forget them, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it's fucker. But yeah, so yeah, that's how I grew up for the longest, and just like how you were saying, I don't know my dad's favorite color. I don't know what size he wear. I don't know what he liked to do for fun. I don't know none of that. And for the longest, I was okay with that. But as I got older, like probably 18 and above, I was like, dang, that fucks with me a little bit. Like, I cannot be that person like he was or whatever.
Well, I think, first of all, you need to write a book or film a movie or something because, like, that sounds like a movie to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's
it's gonna be a boring movie. It is, and I think I don't know, maybe I should go to therapy or something, but I don't know what they're gonna tell me. Like, I already done lived it, and I'm past it. But
No.
I don't feel like
you need to go to therapy because
DJ. And
so
subconsciously, like, that shit is probably bothering you.
No, I promise you. Listen, I've dealt with it already. I've forgiven my mother. I've forgiven my father. I don't like him for another reason. We can get to that if you would like, but that's later. But for the way I was raised and not raised by them, I got over it. I've forgiven them internally. I don't feel like it needs to be a conversation. One, my mother passed away due to drugs, so that made me hate her even more when I was younger. But yeah, I feel like I don't know what a therapist would do for me because it's just like I already got over that.
You feel like you handled it already.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Well, Britt, how did we grow up? How did we grow up?
Well, so far from these stories, it wasn't as rough as y'all. I feel like our relationship with our dad, it had its good moments and its bad moments because all the memories that I have of him are not bad memories. It's just when we had those bad moments or those bad events, those do stick with you, especially as a child. And you, without knowing it, you carried into being a full grown adult. But yeah, I would say it was a mix of good or bad, and I can't say that we didn't know him. We knew him. We go to McDonald's sometimes and south of the border. Just different little stuff like that. But you know, there were moments too where we were hurt by, you know, some of his actions. So to speak, you know, this is, you know, speaking in the past. I think present day, our relationship with our father is like a lot better. It's definitely
I think coming into adulthood, we kind of had to like sit down and have a conversation with our dad and just kind of like say, hey, like, you really messed us up a little bit as kids because he was in and out a lot. And I think in the beginning, when he was a dad, he was a bomb dad. Like, we used to go places. We was always on a trip. We was always doing something. So we loved being with daddy. That was our thing. Like, we look forward to the weekend because we was going to stay with our daddy. But over time, I just think maybe life caught up with him in a way to where he got married and he started his own family. And I think he was just trying to cater to his family and nurture them. And I don't want to say he forgot about us, but I just think in the process, he was just trying to make his family whole at the same time and try and deal with us when he could. And I think I harbored a lot of anger about that. And I didn't realize that until like recently, like when I got to Vegas in like 2017. And I sent him a long message. And I was like, Daddy, like, you used to leave me on the stairs waiting for you hours and hours and hours, and you would never come and get us. Like, that type of stuff. Like, I was like, that used to mess me up because I used to look forward to coming to see you on the weekends like we used to. And then there was a point in time where Daddy stayed in Dillon at Grandma's house, and I would not see him for months. We lived down the road. Like, and I wouldn't see him for months. So I think we healed from it now, so I feel like we can talk about it. But I just think in that time, I was going through a lot of other shit, depressed and all this other stuff. And I think I was, in a way, kind of like just projecting all my blame to him and not looking at nothing else because I was just like, well, I messed up because my daddy wasn't there how he was supposed to be, which is unfair because life does happen. But at the same time, I feel like he could have taken a little bit more accountability in the process when we was telling him, like, hey, this is how we felt. Don't invalidate that feeling. Just, okay, that's not my intention, but I apologize.
Yeah. I kind of want to piggyback off of what Fatty and Lee were saying earlier. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that he grew up without his dad.
Yeah.
Because that's when he was very, very young. So maybe that played a part in it. Yeah, I remember them days at Grandma's house looking out the door. But yeah, man.
At least y'all knew your daddy.
True.
Because then you got me on the other hand. Me and DJ are alike because I didn't know. So for those of you who don't know, I just found out who my biological father was back in 2016. I was 22 years old. Like, I had done I was about to graduate college. So it's just like you missed everything. But crazy thing is, y'all. So I didn't know who my daddy was, but I knew who my daddy was because I knew him. Like we literally stayed right down the street from each other. So, but again, that goes back to those moms saying you don't need no daddy. But that's y'all. That's who. That's a story. That's really a story. But now, and I think so. Him being absent, I use that as strength, basically. Like I missed out on a lot, but I also had a father. So I really didn't lack a father because my godfather stepped up. Like, so I knew what family vacations were. Like I was a part of a family and I was a part of their family. So he stepped up big time and he filled big shoes. But what I can say is like in my relationship now with my dad, we are extremely close. I can tell you my daddy's favorite color. I can tell you what size my daddy wear. Like I can tell you what he likes to do for fun. Like I can tell you about my daddy. Like that's my best friend. Me and him can talk on the phone for hours. Like that's my dog, period. So Mike Rob is my dog. And I honestly love my dad to death. But I wish that I had that opportunity to grow up with my brothers because he has other kids and they were a family and they did things together. And I missed out on that. Like I knew who they were, but I didn't know that they were my brothers. That's crazy. I was on band with my brother and didn't know he was my brother. Small town stuff.
I think for me, it kind of was the opposite because I had a man I won't say a man, but he was my mom's husband, my stepfather, essentially. But for me, the words that my mother instilled in us at such a young age, I began to resent my stepfather before I even knew who he was. Like I can tell you a very vivid conversation when he and my mom had made the decision to move in with one another and they were having the conversation with my sister and I, and they're talking. My sister was all for it and I completely was silent. And he asked me, so Selicia, how do you feel? And my exact words were, you're not my father and you would never be my father because my father is dead. And even growing up, it was hard. Like even now, he had been in my life since I was in the 3rd grade. Now my mom, she always, your dad. And I know for a fact she's not talking about my biological father. She's definitely referring to my stepdad. And I'm like, oh, who, Mousy? Like I call him by his nickname. Like Mousy? You mean Mousy? Like not dad. Don't call him my dad because I feel like you messed me up. You told me that I don't have a dad. My dad is dead and you don't need no dad. But then you bring in this man and want me to cling to him like he's a father. And for him, he couldn't even do it because I didn't allow him to, and not being able to allow him to, but he didn't have any kids. So for me at a young age, I was like, he can't even be a daddy. He don't even have no kids. Like it was crazy.
Go have your own kids.
Right.
You ain't my daddy.
So it was crazy.
Oh man.
Wow. Okay.
It gets deep.
Dude, like that's a lot of under the surface stuff.
And it's gonna keep coming out. So moving forward, like what do you think what is your idea of a perfect daddy? Like
Right.
perfect daddy.
Idea of a perfect dad would be just somebody that set the right example in all circumstances. Like even if you're not in the home with your child, I still feel like you have examples you can set. Because for me, I hate to put our dad on blast like this, but he was just not, he was young. And you know, young people do young things. Kind of out there doing what he wanted to do until he got married. And I kind of feel like you need to set that example for your daughters because me and Britt are the oldest. We had 2 girls in the beginning to set an example for. And I feel like for women, you need to set that example. So I'm not dating, or so I am dating somebody that you would want me to date. Because if you're not being that example, then what am I being led by? So now I'm out here dating other men who trash because you haven't shown me what a real man is supposed to do or how they're supposed to treat me. None of that. So I feel like a dad first should be a provider. He doesn't have to be a provider in that home, but just a provider of all things, information, money if you need it, whatever the case. But at the same time, you need to lead by example because your kids are truly watching you. Like from a young age, it's stuff that I remember that I feel like I shouldn't even know. So that's mine.
Yeah, I feel you with that. Like a good father, like somebody that gets you ready for the real world, but in a realistic way.
Yes.
Like the way my dad moved, like I say, he's a drug dealer. So I got a couple brothers, in jail. Well, I got 10 siblings starting off. And then yeah, I got a couple brothers in jail doing like 15 years. And like the rest of my brothers, they in the streets. So they doing all that. And my dad, the way he moved was like, yo, if you want to be a man, I'm gonna help I'm gonna let you do what you want to do. So like in the street, like my dad was in the streets, so they working with my dad in the streets. And if I wasn't raised by my grandmother, my grandparents, I would have been in the streets right along with him. So I feel like he got them ready for the world, but not in a realistic way. Like he showed them the game and all that, but that's not really what you want for your child. But I feel like since that's the life he was living, he felt like that was the right way to do things. And that's not how you do shit.
Absolutely not, because again, my mom, so I had a stepdad. Y'all, I done had like 6 daddies, like no lie. So I had a stepdad and he was my daddy. Like I also know him as a dad because whenever I was at my mom's house, as a kid, this was her boyfriend and she said, "This is your daddy." So me and my brother started calling him our daddy. Grew up definitely not the type of man that I would want to be a daddy to my kids. But anyway, I think the perfect dad is just like y'all said, being able to lead in a good way. And then if you are doing illegal stuff, again, I get it. Like times were hard. I'm very understanding with that, but don't push that on your child. I feel like you should be using that to gain them resources to not be like you. I'm not going to teach you the streets because I've been in these streets and I know that there's nothing in the streets for you. So yes, I'm hustling, but I'm using this to, be better for you. But I think that a good father should be present. Most definitely present. Presence is definitely needed. Money does not always solve it. Stop sending baby mamas money thinking that that's going to solve it. Like, you can't buy a child. You can't buy a child. They need more than just that. They need love. They need emotional support. And I think that's what fathers should also provide, especially for girls. And also, I think a father should be very understanding and not too overprotective. Because again, my godfather, he was a great father. I mean, in regards to finances, and he was extremely hard on us. And I think that didn't give us, as well as my sisters, like the space to be vulnerable and to trust you as my father with certain information that I want to talk to you about. Because now I'm kind of scared of you. Like, you a good daddy, you give us what we need, but I'm scared of you. I can't really talk to you. So I think it's about actually building and caring about relationships with your children, just being there and being invested. Like a kid, whenever you agree upon this with your baby mama, your wife, whomever, this is an investment. Like, this is your investment. And I feel like you should treat it as such. Invest in your children.
Facts.
What about you, Britt?
Man, y'all pretty much said everything. But definitely being present, like you just said, Fatty. Man, the changes that definitely would have made in my adult life. Those moments that we had, Shauna, when Daddy was present, those stick out to me. Mm-hmm. But also the moments when he wasn't present, when he promised that he would be, those also stick out to me. And, I don't want to get too far ahead into the topic, but it's definitely affected me as an adult. I'll save the rest of that for later.
Yeah. Next topic. Why is having a father present important? Like,
DJ, you start this one off.
yeah. For a guy, why is
Um,
having a father present important?
oh man, that done screw me up. I don't know how to grill. I don't know how to fish. I don't know how to. I know how to cook a little bit, but yeah, it's just a lot of things that a man brings to the table, and I feel like people. I tell people like I built my father figure off of like shit you see on TV, like these father roles these actors play. Like, oh, that's how a man should be, or that's how blah blah blah. Because I didn't see it at home, and I got the double whammy. Like I said, I was raised by two women, so it was like I didn't get. I wasn't. I don't know. I didn't get that father figure in the household, or I wasn't taught how to be a man, or what I should do, or how to do it. And then I get in relationships, and then people are like, well, women are like, they expect this, but it's also I feel like they're being a little selfish because they're not understanding. For the people like me, it's like you want me to treat you like this when I don't know how to treat you like this. So I done fumbled the bag with you, and boom, now I'm going to the next woman, and I gotta go through that again. So and then you get those women who are not understanding, and like I like to call them selfish, and they say I'm not about to raise a man. But it's not that I need you to raise me. I need you to be more understanding because I've never seen how a man should treat a woman. And so yeah, I take an L on that a lot. And they're like, no, but you're an adult now. I'm like, but it's just like, yeah, I'm an adult now. I'm 26, but what does that mean? Like, I still never saw that, or is whatever I'm going along the way, whatever I'm trying to say. But yeah, so it's like if you're not willing to be understanding and work with me, then I can't give you what you want. So that's something that that's important. I mean, that's why it's important for a man to be in a young man's life or whatever. And then a lot of things, because I was also dating a girl. She said, what did you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, I want to be a drug dealer. And she's like, what? Like, what? I'm like, yeah, like where I grew up, like that's what I was. Like my dad was that. Like my dad was like Scarface to me. He was like Superman. Because even though I didn't see him, like he was the man around the way. No, he really was, because I ain't know nothing. So I was like, yo, my dad is the shit. Like people, like, I was proud. Like people were like, oh, what did your dad do? I'm like, yo, my dad a drug dealer. Da, da, da. And seldom did I see the money from it. Like he every now and then he'd buy his boots or jerseys or whatever it might be. But yeah, just he won, like I said, he wasn't in my life. But if he was a positive male figure in my life, then I probably wouldn't have grew up wanting to be a drug dealer or wanting to be a rapper or something that without the right guidance would be
typical.
Without being something typical in the black community where I could have been a whatever. And I ain't even talking about being a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. But I don't know, whatever. Probably took school more serious or whatever it was. So yeah, without having that positive male figure in my life, if I didn't have my grandparents, no lie, I would have been in the streets. I would have been dead or in jail or whatever. So it's very, very important to have that male figure in the life. And this is an unpopular opinion, but I feel like, yes, you should have both. But if you don't have both, I feel like a man is more influential in a child, male or female's life.
I agree with you. And you said something, and I forgot exactly what it was, but it gave me a thought. Like men are more masculine.
Yeah.
So the way that a child reacts to their father is always going to be different from how they react to their mother. Prime example, Mocha. Bruh, Mocha do not listen to me. But as soon as Chad come with that masculine voice is, okay, you got my immediate attention. So, and I think like that's what it is. A father provides that stability and that structure, and it just makes things to me easygoing. But it's super important for both male and females to have their fathers. Prime example, my brother grew up not knowing his father either. He know him now, shout out, and he's actually visiting his dad, and that really, really makes me happy because y'all, it's never too late. Like, and it's just about like growing up and learning to forgive, and
Never too late.
it's never too late. Well, yeah. So in most situations, but in your circumstances, they were different, and that's very unfortunate. But if your parents are alive, I think that that's kind of big. Like, you don't got to talk every day, but it's just about you being like, your conscience being clear from anything that they could have personally done to you, or to stumble. Well, what you think is you stumbling in your growth, but 9 times out of 10, they be growing pains. But women date their fathers. Me, I didn't really have a stable father, so you know what I did? I didn't like, for a very long time I had an issue with trusting men, and Shauna can tell you, like, anybody that I talk to, I'm like, yeah, I don't like this person. I don't like this person. And then until I actually like went to therapy and realized like why I was so impulsive with men. I didn't take men serious. It was always about what I could get from a man, and that's because I didn't have that father. He wasn't giving me anything, so I felt like, you know, that's what I'm looking for.
Right.
And that really affects women in dating. And I don't think people realize it, but we date our fathers. So it's just about you being able to show. And then when you get married, you got something to say. No, you can't do that. So if you want to be a replica, you know, you have to show that, prove that you are that person, or else you really can't contradict about what your child is doing. Like, you can't speak about what your child is doing, because how do you tell them that this is right? You didn't teach them that. So yeah, a father definitely makes a huge difference in both. And then it also teaches men, just like DJ said, how to be a father. He didn't know how to be a father. So he looking on YouTube and Hallmark, and that's not what it is. Like, it's not like that. So it's just about being knowledgeable.
I think too, just to piggyback off of what you and DJ said, it is definitely important to have a present father there, because not only structure, but it does teach love, like for both men and women. Because I know for me, I was just like you, DJ. I struggle with affection. I didn't know how to receive affection. So
Oh, I still don't.
Me either. I'm still learning.
I don't know. I am too. And it's just like, I didn't start being open to affection until I had my son. And it's funny because they tell you that your child comes to you for whatever you need. And boys are the more affectionate, and they teach you how to love. And I feel like that my child has really been teaching me how to be open to affection. Like, don't kiss me, don't hug me. My son, you around him every 30 minutes. If we're sitting around in the house, he's, Mommy, I just came here to hug you. What? Why? Like, I'm questioning that. But now I'm more open to it. And I feel like that is another reason why fathers are very important, because they do teach that structure. They are the role model for love. And, you know, even if you are an active father and you're not with the mother, it still teaches you, like, you still have respect. And that's something that my child's father taught me. Like, for a long time we weren't together, but he still respected me. He still, you know, showed me that, okay, you come first. And he would tell me, and I was confused at first. He was like, you know, if I'm in a relationship, my child's mom comes first. Like, I tell anybody that I'm dating, I'm like, why would you do that? But then again, after going through therapy, it makes sense, because it's just like, you know, you're the role of the mom, you're the nurturer. The men, they are that enforcer. So everybody needs that, male or female. It's very, very, very prominent that they are around and active.
And an absent father always also, I think, teaches you how to run, because that's one thing that I learned. Like, I am a runner, like, from anything, and I'm learning more, you know, like, to be okay with sitting in a setting and learning how to communicate more. So yeah, that's definitely a behavior that you get from an absent father. Like, just because it's like, why do I have to be present for this long?
Right, or for these problems. Like, what they got to do with me? I'm gone. Figure it out.
Like my therapist told me, she's like, so it sounds like you were a professional ghoster. And it's crazy.
And you were.
I was, because it's like, it was so bad that I was so programmed to ghosting people. It was going into all of my relationships, like not just with my partner, but it was going into relationships with my friends. Like, I'm a person who I can count on 2 fingers how many friends I have, like legit. And it's because if something went wrong, the slightest thing, or if I just felt uneasy, or even if I did something wrong, instead of handling the situation, I would just be like, okay, I'm out. Like, and now I'm so glad that I've grown from that. And I know now, again, like Fatty said, how to communicate and how to sit in the situation and actually conflict resolution.
You got to deal with it, because if not, you ran away. But I can guarantee you, as soon as you do the 360, the problem is right back in your face. So
Absolutely.
you might as well handle it in the beginning.
See, the way y'all talking, I might need to see what a therapist talking about.
I'm telling you. So you said that you've healed, and I honestly was the same way until one day my conscience took over and I had a extreme breakdown. And I'm like, sis, you not okay. Like, what I did was harbor all of that. And I wasn't okay with my daddy issues, with my mama issues, it just with family and with myself. So I knew that I had to seek help, because although I was successful, I did everything right, that was my fuel. And then when I got to where I needed to be, it's just like, okay, now what? You still got to deal with the issue. So I use other things, like school and just going back to school to keep me busy. But then when I got like all of these degrees, and then it's like, okay, now what? Your problems are still here.
So when you gonna confront them?
All it took was one night for me to have an anxiety attack. And I'm like, okay, sis, yeah, you're not okay. You didn't forgive your mama. You cool with your daddy, but you really didn't forgive him yet. So yeah, it'll hit you. You don't realize how much until it's going to affect you in another area of life. Right. And I think that's when you get that moment of, okay, darn, maybe I do need therapy. Because like I said, I was moving along with life just like Fatty, and was okay. Like, yeah, I was a little hurt, but I was like, well, shoot, if I made it this far, I can keep going, right? Like, I can make it. He wasn't here. But then it was like other areas of life where I needed a dad. And
you got to have an epiphany.
Right. Okay. But yeah, it was just like, it's going to hit you. It's going to hit you. So.
What about you, Britt?
Man, I'm like the total opposite of everybody else. I'm not the runner. I'm the chaser. What was I about to say? I have definitely dated my dad 3 times in all 3 of my serious relationships, without knowing. So for a while that I had this repeat of dating the same type of guy. And every time it would end up the same way. It just wouldn't work out. And it took me a while to realize that it was linked back to my relationship with Shauna and I's dad. Man, it's been rough. I've been single. When September comes, I'll be single for 4 years. Because I realized I need to just stop. I need to figure out what's going on with me, why I keep picking the same type of guy, how I can be better for the next guy, or for the right guy. I forgot what else I was going to say.
And that's what therapy did for me, though. Like, that's what therapy like really did for me, because my therapist taught me how to communicate. And I know, DJ, you mentioned like, okay, well, people, like, women are not understanding, and those women are probably dealing with the same thing and saying that they want this type of man, but that's something they saw on TV. They want a Russell Wilson. They want you to be Russell Wilson because their daddy wasn't Russell Wilson. So sometimes it's not even them not being understanding or personal. It's them wanting what they want it from their father. So now they are expecting
Yeah.
they're expecting their man to be their father, and they can't, like, that can't happen. Your man is not your father. No.
Yeah, yeah. Or it's like when it comes to women looking for their father, or not even looking for their father. I've been with women, like Britt was saying, like women who, damn, well, I'm getting that. But I've been with women who were not. This isn't what she said, but I've been with women who was looking for a father, and that annoys the hell out of me because it's like that's not me. Or it's like if you are looking for that leader in your life, you got to know how to be led. So there's a lot of women who are looking for a father or a father figure or to be led because they've never been led, but they're not ready for that. So they rebel or they go against you a lot. And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to lead you, but that's what you
Hey,
want.
come on,
No, that's what
preach.
you need, but that's not.
Because I don't know
Seriously,
how to be
like that's
receptive of that.
exactly. And then that comes off as me, oh, you're controlling. I'm not a controlling person at all. You know what I mean? I've been with women, so I've been with women who I wouldn't say has less than me, but I have my ducks in a row to a certain point until I go to therapy. We get all the other ducks. But for a lot of it, I got my ducks in a row. So for some reason, I find these. This was Bert was saying. I find these same people. It's like I don't know when it's time to date. I guess I got a sign that's like, hey, if you never knew your father and you want a father, I'm here. I guess I got that sign up every time I'm looking for a girl or whatever because that always happens. And yeah, and like I said, I might be on a different level than them, so I try to get them to my level, and it might come off differently, maybe. But they're not. They need it in their life, but they're not ready for it. But they want it, and it's just all a headache. So yeah, I deal with women who's looking for a father or a father figure, and to me, that's the worst thing ever, just because it's a headache. Because like, I can't be that for you. You got to get that together.
I honestly think what you and Britt need to do is don't look for those people. Let them come to you.
They come to
Like,
me too.
well, I don't know what you're attracting. Change your energy.
Exactly. They come to me too.
Because I was the same way. I'm gonna be honest, I was a major attractor to drug dealers, and I'm trying to figure out why. You know, those are the type of men that I once liked. And then as I, progressed with myself, I'm like, Fatty, for real, bro, like, do you know your potential? Like, do you know what you have going on? Like, that's like that life is not for you.
Come
And
with it, sis.
again, it took therapy. Like, my therapist was telling me, like, all right, so I'm listening, but I ain't gonna judge you because I'm your therapist. But everything, like, the woman that you are, you don't deserve
Don't
that.
match.
Yeah, so it's just we be needing our daddies, y'all, for guidance, because I feel like if I had that structure, and again, I don't want to discredit, my godfather, but again, I was basically from their house to my mom's house, like wherever I wanted to be. That's where I was. So it was still like no stability in regards to a father, because the minute he made me mad or he told me something that I didn't like, I can go home. And when I go home to my mama, what daddy? Is no structure. So fathers definitely provide the structure.
True. So why do you think absence is common, especially in the Black community? Why is absence of fathers so damn common? What is that?
I'm not even gonna say in the Black community because it's common. Like, so I work with minorities, and minorities are not all Black people, and it's a lot of single parents, and I think that it's just society and it's normalized. Like, that's what people are normalizing, and people are like, that's what they see. So you do what you see, and then you get the same result as your parents, and then it's like, damn, I'm here too. So I don't think people don't want that for themselves. Women don't get pregnant thinking they're not going to be with their child's father. Like, I honestly don't think women get pregnant and thinking that they're not going to be with their child's father, not unless it was an uh-oh moment, because those happen. But other than that, like, women want to be with their partners and vice versa. But I just think that we don't know how to communicate. And if you don't learn the proper communication, then what relationship? So then that leads to a father eventually leaving the house, or even still, men just stop messing around and getting people pregnant without like what's
Okay, because y'all be future out here.
okay.
Like, just poking everything and popping and making everything pregnant. It's crazy to me. I feel like if you look at Future now, you get pregnant because he got big. So to me, I do like that's a big thing for me. Stop just going around impregnating any and everything walking, because then these men be like, oh, she want me to pay all this child support and blah blah. Like, yeah, because you got 6 other kids. How I know my kid gonna be okay? I feel like there needs to be a fine line at some point. Like, you need to I feel like both men and women need to take responsibility.
Yes.
Because
And
women do the same thing. They like to trap men thinking that they're going to keep that man. And then now you in a situation where that man don't want to be with you. And now you trying to make it seem like, oh, you dishonor me and my child. No, you knew what it was from jump.
Mm-hmm.
People are immature.
Yes.
yeah, that's
I feel like that, to piggyback from what you said, Shauna, you don't know your partner. You have to know your partner and who you're planning to spend that next. A lot of people say 18 years, but like I tell anybody, it's past 18 years. I'm gonna be the mom. You're gonna be the father for his
for
life.
life.
That's a for life thing, and you really have to know who you're about to do that with. And when you don't know who your partner is, or you don't have that conversation about, okay, so if you and I don't work, how are we going to be able to move forward? You have to have that conversation so that you have an understanding on the better outcome for the child. Like, stop making it about y'all. It's not about us. It's about the success of the child. And I feel like that a lot of the single parent comes from the notion that society implants that men have to be the provider. Yes, I do think all fathers should be the provider, but at some point I think men overwork themselves. So it's like, once you tell me, okay, I'm good without you, the men go out there and they're the go-getter. They feel like they gotta work just in case baby mama say, oh, I'm putting you on child support, or just to survive for themselves, because at the end of the day, they still got to worry about them. They still have to take care of their self, or even if they do move forward and have another family, they still have to be the provider. They don't have time to sit and be like, okay, can we make this work, or how can we do this? No, time doesn't wait for no man, and I think that's why they say that.
True.
Right.
True.
I feel to overcome daddy issues, and like up until today, I don't work with minorities. So I would say I am ignorant. So I can only speak on the black community.
yeah.
I say it takes black men, whether you got a child or not, to be there for little black kids, because little black kids, like I said, I can only speak for us, are very impressionable, like any other kid. But our community is screwed. We have things normalizing not being there for a child, or how we live our culture. Like, I'm a huge, I listen to it myself, so I might be a hypocrite, but I'm a huge advocate of that. Rap music is very detrimental to our community. So rap music, you tell us to stop being Future, but man, I ain't, at the age of 11, 12, I ain't trying to listen to that. I'm trying to listen to Pooh Shiesty say this. I'm trying to listen to Future say this, because they are right. So especially if I don't have that father figure, they are my father figure. I want to be like them. I want all the girls. And then also I speak on the way we are. Like I said, once again, people say stop playing your dick and everything, but that's all we know, because when we're kids, you got your grandfather saying, "Where your girlfriend at? Like, where's she at? I know you got about 12 of them.
Oh,
okay." And then you got the women in your family. Oh, he gonna be a little heartbreaker. Okay, now I'm 20 and I'm a heartbreaker. But now I'm a problem that I'm a heartbreaker, or now I'm a problem that I got all these women. But that's how I've been raised to do. So it's definitely us now, because we're at that age. we need to be in young children's lives. Like I said, whether you got a kid or not, it's our duty to do for these kids and teach them the right way.
Well, read me then, DJ. Read me.
Yes, like
Hey, I want listen.
that was a word. Like, and parents do that though. So parents normalize that. And what I mean by that is, prime example, parents treat females and males differently. Prime example, my brother. Oh, he could go out, hang out. He could have girls over. Why? Because he was a boy, and that baby don't got to stay here. So that is already implementing bad things and bad norms to the culture. Because okay, yeah, the baby don't got to stay here, but is it okay for this other child to be a single mom? So I feel like females and males should be held to the same standards whenever it comes to being raised. If Daddy's curfew is at 10 o'clock, so is yours. Yeah, you a boy, but still. So we got to stop being lenient with boys. And so I can definitely agree that that's how you guys was raised, because it's okay for my brother to have company, but I can't. It's still said. Yeah, so stop making that normal.
Yeah,
Mm.
I feel you there.
Yeah,
I was raised old school, so yeah, it was the same way for both sexes in the crib. Like nobody could have company. You wasn't staying out till whatever time or whatever. So yeah, I agree with that. But I feel like you can treat the sexes a little different. Just because they are a guy, but it doesn't have to go so far as the boy can have girls over. But I'm saying, like, you were speaking on staying out. I feel like a boy could stay out a little later than
No.
What? No, time out. And that goes further than just the whole unfair type thing. Like, if a boy is not doing nothing, if he's staying out the way, let's say he's not on a corner or whatever, blah, 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 then for the most part, he's good. A woman, I'm afraid to have a daughter, but I'm going to protect it as long as I can. A woman is almost, especially in today's world, is almost not okay at any time. So I feel like a dude, let's say even in the suburbs, a dude could walk home by himself at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
No.
But even in the suburbs, a woman cannot and should not. 17-year-old woman, 16-year-old woman should not be by herself at that time of night. Like I said, even in the suburbs where things are presumed to be safer.
With this world today, yeah. So I'm with you, Shauna. Like, I kind of agree and I disagree. So I get that, so you have good intentions about, like just the well-being of women, but it's not safe for y'all to be walking in the suburb alone.
Trayvon Martin.
Okay, so no. So like, I get that like women, we are usually smaller. We are, usually easier to be a victim or a target. Absolutely. But so are y'all now. So it's not safe for no type of child to be out past a certain time. So I feel like they should be held to the same standards.
Yeah, you're right with that.
True.
Back in the old days, yeah, like back in the old days, yeah, that was okay. But now, cover your kids.
Y'all ain't staying out.
Protect your kids.
Yeah, you're right with that one.
True.
Oh, this is getting good. So, another thing, women, stop introducing your kid to different daddies. So just how Lee said, her mom said that this was her daddy and that really confuses you. Because I was confused. I told you I had 4 daddies. 4. So, and to a point where I used to believe that these were my daddies. So stop introducing different men to your kids, because that also paints this picture that, okay, this is normal, this is okay. And then we grow up, because I know I did, with commitment issues, because I don't know how. He was my daddy. So I saw everybody. So now that's my norm, to have multiple. Why not?
So I got a question with that. What if So you say introduce him as your daddy. That's fine. Like that's 1000% correct. But what if you as a mom date? Let's say you date 100 men or whatever. I feel like as long as you don't introduce them to the child in an intimate way, you can have as many men as you want around your child.
No.
Yes, like if me and you are not kissing, touching, oh I love you, all that in front of the child, then the child will see me just like he or she sees the best friends you bring around. But how come you can bring 30 best friends around your child, but you can't bring? That's what I'm saying. If they don't see us in that way, then they don't know us in that way.
But I agree with that because I knew, like, and they wouldn't be kissing or hugging or nothing. But the vibe.
Yeah, how do you know the difference between a best friend and a like your mom?
You know. No. Okay. So you haven't been in that situation because you said you were raised by your grandmother and she had a partner. So you saw stability. But regardless if they're not kissing, regardless if they're not touching, the energy, the chemistry is there. Like I know this not my mama homeboy because my mama don't talk to Uncle Sam like this. So yeah, they ain't kissing or touching, but the vibe is different. And again, I was that child. Like, yeah, I know something up, but I don't know what's up, but I know something up. I don't know what it is. But
I ain't gonna see him no more. Maybe. I ain't gonna see him no more. Again, gonna come.
And then another reason why I say that is you don't know people's intentions. Like, although this is my homeboy, you don't know these men that long. Like, I feel like if you're gonna bring someone around your kid that you know you are being intimate with, it don't matter if the child know or not. You should know that person well enough to know that. Do you know if this person is a sex offender? Did you dig into their background? Do you know if they got a crazy baby mama on the side? Like, stop bringing these bad vibes and this negative energy around your kid in their safe place. Like, you are a mother or a father. You are supposed to protect your child. So bringing people in and out, that's not protection. Like, that's you opening that child up to so many different people and so many different spirits. You don't know what these people are doing to your child. Molestation is definitely real. So no, do not be bringing people around your kid if you know that it's not something serious. And I think that, me personally, I think it should be a time limit.
Yes, agreed.
I think it should.
I know for me, and as a child, with what I went through with my mom, it's funny that Fatty even say, "Oh, mommy didn't treat Uncle Sam like that," because with my mom, she used to call her boyfriends, "Oh, yeah, that's Uncle Daryl. Oh, that's Uncle." And I knew they weren't my uncle.
Kids ain't slow.
Mama didn't have no brother. Like, I didn't see him at Thanksgiving or at Christmas. So, yes, kids are not dumb. And I always say that kids are the closest thing to God. So their energy is so pure and they know and they pick up on every single thing. So they definitely know. So, and moving forward to me as a mom, being that I knew what my mom was doing and I knew how it affected me. Even when I started dating people outside of my son's father, it took me a long time. It was this guy I was dating before I even had my son. And of course we stopped and then we picked back up afterwards. It took me like 2.5, almost 3 years before I introduced him to my son. And even still,
you didn't let him meet him.
I could count on like one hand how many times to this day he had been around my son, because it was just, I was so protective of that. Like, I knew him intimately. I knew the type of relationship we had. I trust him to a certain extent. But when it came to my son, I was like, no, like, I don't know. And I held my son's father to the same standard, because it's just like, you really don't know people's intentions. And like I used to tell everybody, I see too many posts on Facebook about these jealous partners and relationships when it comes to the kids, who abuse the kid, who just treat them so differently. And I don't want that for my child. So yeah, I don't agree. And I wholeheartedly stop introducing your kid to these men.
And stop ignoring your kids' advice. If your kids say that they don't like somebody, they be knowing. Like, listen to that. Like, don't think, oh, you don't know, I'm grown. No, listen to your kids. like just like Selicia said, your kids are the closest thing to God. Like they pick up on people's energy. So use that. Like and stop thinking that they are being defiant. No. If they say they don't like Chris, it's probably a reason they don't like Chris. So you need to get to the bottom of why they don't like Chris. Like stop thinking that, it's about you. Chris could have did anything. Like so see why your child doesn't like Chris. That's your child.
True.
Your child or Chris.
Fact though.
Mm. And you'll be surprised who would say Chris. Moving on.
How do we overcome this? How do you overcome daddy issues?
Stop normalizing it.
Yeah.
I just tweet. I think I tweeted the other day. Like, stop normalizing poverty because that's what it is. Is poverty. Like you breaking up these homes, having absent fathers. That's poverty, and the cycle keeps going on, and so now, and this is my whole thing. Now you have this innocent child who did not ask to be here, and now you are scarring this child to deal with your bullshit. So now they got to heal from you not being a responsible adult mother or father. And to me, that's very selfish. So I think that as a parent, a father, you should handle you first before you even think about fathering a child or mothering a child, because that's very selfish to make your kids pay for your mistakes. You should you should break the cycle. Let it start with you. Like, stop normalizing poverty. So that's how I think that it can be stopped.
I also think that as an adult, I definitely want to commend Shauna and Britt, because to have that conversation with your parent who was absent or in and out of your life, that takes a lot, because it helps you move forward, and it definitely displays growth. And though like I said, I've gone through therapy and I've talked about my daddy issues, that's something that I still have not yet to do with my father, was to tell him how that affected me throughout life and how it made me feel about him being in and out. Because I really don't know how to have that conversation. So
We didn't either.
But on the other end, it's crazy because my sister had that conversation with him when we was in middle school. And to this day, my dad will literally tell me, I never forget your mama let your sister call me and she just let me have it. She just let me have it. And I could tell that stuck with him. So now it's like in the back of my mind, well, if I had that conversation as an adult, maybe it will. It's not much you can do, but to be a better grandfather, maybe. But having that conversation is something that I definitely recommend, even if you feel like, oh, it's too late. Definitely have that conversation. And like I always say, go to therapy, because your therapist can tell you.
I think I'm gonna get mad if I had that conversation, because I don't know the answer I'm looking for, because it's like I'm gonna have it, and I feel like niggas gonna be like, okay, like.
Okay. So I had a friend who basically had said the same thing. Like, I don't know how to have that conversation with my dad. So what I will say, because I believe in the universe, that is still your father. And no. He is your father, but he your daddy. Well, you get what I'm saying. Biologically, he is your father, but he's not your father. So although you may feel like you don't owe him that respect, what I always say is just be nice, nasty. So it's a way to tell him how you feel and say it how you want to say it. However, I just think it's just about the context. So maybe before you decide to go talk to your daddy, write it out first. Like release your negative energy or release your anger towards him first, and then that way whenever it's time to have a conversation, you done got all this out, so now I can have an adult conversation. Because if you go in yelling, screaming, what's gonna be resolved?
See, so for me, like I'll still go to therapy on a back burner, but I like I said, I feel like I was healed from all that. I'm good on that. Moving forward in life, my dad owed me some bread, and we ain't talking about no little bread. So it's like he owe me a few racks. So I'm in the mindset of like, yo, if you could steal from, and this was like, we was texting every day or every week or whatever. We was cordial, like we was cool. And like I said, up until just recently, like my dad was the shit. Like, yes, I grew up not knowing him, or he didn't do this for me, that for me. But he was the shit to me. He was a drug dealer. I'm like, yo, my dad is my dad. Like at the end of, like you said, at the end of the day, he's my dad. But nah, like he owed me like 3,500. And it's not like I loaned it to him and he ain't got it yet. It's like, nah, we was doing something and I ain't get my cut. And he got my cut. And he know he got my cut. So it's like, I won't fight that dude. It's not no conversation because I feel like I don't have to have a conversation with him saying he got my cut. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
I thought it was just about daddy issues, but nah, this is personal. This
is like Mercedes from P Valley and how her mama stole her 20 packs. So
and she beat her ass in the parking lot. That's where I'm at. I want to beat his ass. Like it's not daddy issues. I have an issue with this nigga. So I want hands. You know, I don't care about the other shit. Like the other shit, like I'm gonna learn how to fish one day. I'm gonna learn how to grill. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna go to therapy for all that. The therapist is gonna assist with that. But I got a problem with this dude, and there's no talking this one out because you know you disrespecting me. You know you stole from your son. So it's nothing but curse words and hands. Yeah,
I say that back. But pray about it. Pray about it before you put your hands on it. Please don't be like
Mercedes. Listen. No, I got to. Because I ain't talked to the dude since August 2018.
Oh,
he knows he got my bread. Listen. He knows he got my bread.
Let that go.
Listen, no.
Let that go.
No, he got... Listen, no. No, listen. I done made the money. I done made the money however many times over. But it's the principle behind it. And it's like it's a whole family. Like he done been in a room when I done called my little sister or whatever, blah blah blah. So he know I'm alive. We done been home at the same time at my grandma's house. I'm not gonna disrespect my grandma. She don't need to know about none of that, blah blah blah. But you know you got my bread. So where's it at? So I'm gonna let it go. But it's the principle behind it. Like you stole from your son. It's not somebody on the street, blah blah blah. I trusted you with this bread. We were supposed to do this and that, blah blah blah. And you did that, so there's no letting that one go.
Yeah, I feel you because one thing you ain't gonna play about is my money.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Don't play with my.
And like I said, the money's been made. Like I didn't, you know what I mean? Whatever. I got a job.
It's the principle. I know that.
Principle.
And I'm big on the principle. I got mad about this boy about $21, and I don't care. I want my $21. It's the principle, and I made a big deal. I did. Yeah. I made a big deal, and I went on until he gave me my $21 because it's the principle. So, and to me, it was like, so I get it. That's a respect thing because now this is you messing with me and my livelihood is ruining my $21.
That's the same way in Mexico. Like the women still stole all our money there. Raised hell.
Bro, exactly. Like, and then also I'm a dude. Like, you think I'm sweet? Like now I gotta, you know what I mean? Dad or not? Like, I feel disrespect is definitely 1,000% a pride thing and a principle. So we don't call it the double P. And it's just like, I got, like, you know what I mean? My siblings know about it. They laugh about it every other phone call. They're like, nah, man.
Okay, so that's different then. We're not going to force you to talk to your daddy because it's another conversation need to be had before that we be had. So
I'm going to fight him or I'm going to tell my grandma.
But I highly suggest overcoming the daddy issues though, real talk. Like overcoming them if you want to be successful and have a relationship. So if you are still, like harboring daddy issues, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but your chances are kind of slim because you were still holding on to that baggage. And honestly, I feel like your dad, he displays that. So if you want stability in your relationship, I think that that's one thing that should be hashed out, honestly, especially if your dad is alive and well. And I can guarantee you that you would probably see a difference because, again, you got to forgive people for what they don't know. True. You can't, and that's one thing I had to learn, and I forgot who said it, my mom was young, so was mine. And, my dad was young. So, I mean, I get it. Was it right? No. But, I mean, I forgive you. I mean, what can we do moving forward?
True.
Yeah. And then also to the men listening to this, I don't know none of y'all, but I challenge all of y'all to be in a child's life, whether you got volunteer at a whatever home, a group home, or you got a younger cousin and they under a single mom, or even your younger sibling and things like that, whatever it may be. Because like you just said, like you can't judge someone for them not knowing. I disagree with like you're right, but I disagree with it just because I feel like you know what you went through. Why don't you know how you're affecting this child? So just yes, I grew up without
You
a
know
father.
why though?
Why
You
is
know
that?
why? Because those people still have not dealt with their issues. So how they even know they got issues?
It's normal for them.
How they know that they're causing
Mm,
you any harm or hurt or discomfort because they survived it.
you, you're right. So they like, damn, I guess they gonna survive it too. You're
And
right.
again, they are harboring those feelings. So that's why I think as an adult child, if you are having issues with your parents, like your dad or your mom, I think that that's a conversation that's worth having. Like, I think that y'all deserve to have an adult conversation because your parents might not know. Like, they probably holding on to some stuff that they done harbored in and forgot about. So I think when you have that conversation, that's going to open up the door for everybody to heal because they didn't know how to heal. So they raised you based upon what they do. And again,
Facts.
you would think that people would be like me and you and look at TV and be like, nah, I don't want to grow up like me. So I'm gonna have kids like this. I'm gonna do that. Like, I already had my family planned out.
Mm-hmm.
My
That's
daughter
what
was gonna be
Virgos
a
do.
cheerleader. She was gonna be in gymnastics. Everything that I wanted to do as a child, I said that I was gonna provide that for my child.
Mhm.
So some people so I feel like whenever you are stuck in generational curses, you can either go one or two ways. You're gonna keep the cycle going, or you are gonna find the strength and move forward from that and start something new. So I honestly hope that everyone listening decide to take the road less traveled by.
Yes. Yes. I think having that conversation is definitely important because I feel like if I didn't have that conversation with my dad, I would still be angry, honestly. Because, I mean, having the conversation is definitely not easy. But after I said what I needed to say, I felt a hell of a lot better. Like, the load I felt was off my shoulders because I didn't talk to nobody else about it. I talked to him about it because I needed him to know, like, this is what damaged me growing up. And I carried this into my adulthood and didn't even realize that I was dealing with this. And in the beginning, I don't think he took it lightly because don't nobody want to be told when they're doing wrong, especially if you the child and you telling the parent how they did wrong. But shout out to our daddy because he was receptive. Honestly, I was nervous at first because I didn't think he was gonna receive it well. But so shout out to Carl Covington twin and
And that's okay though. So I'm glad that you kind of said that, like, he received it well because you made a good point. So if you do choose to have that conversation with your father and he don't receive it well, and it's okay. Like, go in not expecting an apology or expecting them to understand you. Use it as a moment of closure because they probably won't understand you because they still don't know that they have issues. So it's not about them and how they receive it. It's about you having a clean slate and you know that you can walk away from it with the clean conscience.
so
So although y'all don't
anything else?
want to, talk to y'all daddies and talk to y'all baby daddies too. Like, be cordial. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Talk to y'all daddies, talk to y'all baby daddies, and at the end of the day, do it for the child. This ain't about you. Take your feelings out of it. Your feelings don't matter anymore.
Right.
This is your child. Protect your babies.
Period.
Period.
Well, that concludes daddy issues. So can we get into this Black business shout out? I got one after this one, but let's do this one first.
Well, I got a Black business shout out for my girl again, Shauna. Like, my girl is doing it up with the tarot readings. I am broadcasting for her. I'm waiting on her to make a flyer, but we are doing free tarot readings. So hit my girl up for your first free tarot reading. After that, we are charging.
Free no more after that.
So just had to put that out there. My girl is going to come up and been reading me lately. So shout out to her. But who we have for this episode is Candace. Candace is that's like my big sister. And my business sister at that. Candace do it all. Like, she is a travel agent. She done took me to the DR with the group. We went to Mexico. I went somewhere else. Oh, on like 2 or 3 cruises booked by Candace. Dope. And everywhere you go, you get incentives. Like she makes sure that you're gonna get a bag, a bottle of champagne, something.
All inclusive.
Yes. And she also does wedding and event planning. So if it's love season for you and you want to be married, she will plan your wedding and destination weddings. Her destination weddings is what she really, really specializes in. And lastly, y'all, she do a lot, the jack of all trades.
Yes.
I go to Candace. Lastly, she just opened up her own skincare line, and it is called Bella Pella Company. I don't know if the L's are silent, so now I'm going to say it the English way and not Spanish because I was Spanish just now. Bella Pella Company, and again, that specializes in natural skincare products. Her IG is QC Travel 7. That would be in the description along with all of her other services. So if you are trying to go on a girls trip just to get away from this COVID, hit her up for the deals. Again, all of that will be in the description box.
Last Black business shout out. DJ has his own business.
Sitting up here.
Oh man, yeah. So my business is it's a clothing brand, also like an outreach type thing. It's called Fuck the Opinions. Because who cares what other people have to say about you? With this, I sell clothing, shirts, hoodies, things like that, and a huge portion of the proceeds go to organizations that help give children a voice within the communities, especially like the Black communities, because we don't have much. So lately, I've been donating to travel basketball programs, a group home, and just doing community outreach. So that's what FTO is. You can find me on Instagram, F the opinions, however you want to say it. And yeah, that's me.
That's super dope.
Mm-hmm.
I love Fatty. Love the kids.
She really do.
I'm telling you, the kids are the future, man.
They really are. They really are.
Well, thank you to Brittainy and DJ and Selicia for joining our episode because y'all gave some good insight and we appreciate it.
Yeah, DJ, and we definitely got to have you back. Like my man is definitely knowledgeable in areas.
Yeah.
So,
hey, bring me back. I'm here for it.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
The big one, subscribe. The big one.
I know